I was led to be part of Providence Christian Academy before it was Providence Christian Academy. And when the final decision was made, yeah, we're going to try and put together a school, then I was asked to be on that committee, the exploratory committee. And so that's how I became part of the process here.
At that time, we certainly came up with the feeling and the expectations from people that they desired really a very distinctive Reformed Christian school to be very central in its Reformed doctrine and thought and oneness with its faculty and its staff and its board.
We wanted our children to be educated in a way that reflected what our children were being taught in church.
It was a real blessing to find a school so focused on being distinctly Reformed and conservative Reformed, and then second, being classical. And so for me, that was just the perfect fit.
We kind of came into knowledge of Providence Christian Academy. We realized that the hallmarks were there. The distinctively Reformed was being applied throughout kind of the scholastic experience, from admissions to building curriculum to even things as small as who's being brought in to lead chapels and things of that nature. So it really felt like all that was very meaningful and very purposeful.
We've seen the benefit of all the effort that every single parent puts into this school. So not only are we like-minded in what and how we're educating our children, but we're like-minded in the passion behind it.
The school is a support for the parents. Our teachers have that very strongly or very prominent in their minds that they are serving the parents and educating their children.
And I see now in my own children at Providence that they're being stretched and they're being challenged to think differently and work at home in a way that I really value and cherish.
All of their subjects, whether it's Bible, but also literature and science and math and art, all of these subjects are taught from a worldview where they're taught that Christ is Lord over all of these things.
In a large sense, we have accomplished that goal is in establishing a Christian school that really centers on its Reformed heritage and its Reformed understanding of worship and what it means as a covenant body to train up our children.
The education that they're given is given in such a way that it tailors itself to their developmental stage. So when they're young and they memorize everything, that's what they're given. That's how they're given their information. When they're older and they question things and they wonder about the world, that's what the education and the curriculum is prompting them to do.
It's not just, here is your Bible and theology in a box, or here's your math in a box, but you're studying how your theology and your history and your literature, how those things all work together.
They're using a method of learning that has been time-tested. It's what's been used in Western civilization for thousands of years.
For me, one of the most exciting aspects is really the integration of the classes, so that both in history as well as in English, as well as in Bible, things are integrated together from class to class.
We've gone to great lengths in the curriculum and how things are taught to challenge the children and not to, as we say sometimes, not to sell them short.
Children are taught a timeline, and it's a timeline that gets brought up time and time again. But they learn what we consider world history at the same time that they learn biblical history, and everything makes sense.
It fits with who the students are and enables them to learn in the best possible way for them as people.
They have learning that's tailored to them. They have songs and chants a lot when they're young, and that's how they learn best. And those are things that stick with them even when they get older. The older grades will go back and recite the things that they learned years and years ago, and they know them because it was given to them at the right stage.
And they're really taught with the classical method how to analyze different things, how to tie everything together so that the child becomes well-rounded.
in the classroom and everything we do, recognizing the sovereignty of God in all things. As a man told me one time, to be reformed means that God is very big and man is very small. And so I would hope that that's being taught in all things.
I'll look down the pew in church and see that my children are singing a hymn from memory. And that's because they learned it at school. And so the consistency and the binding that's occurring between the home and the school and the church is very strong. And I think this being distinctly reformed is a big kind of part of the reason why that is.
All of this is truly aiding how we would educate our children at home in light of what we learn in church together as a family.
It's really helpful to us as teachers knowing exactly what the students are being taught at home and at church, that we can teach right along with that, and it's a real partnership.
We recognize the covenantal blessing of being Christians and being Reformed Christians in working together, that not only is it my responsibility to raise my son, it's my responsibility as a Christian to work together to raise the other Christians, the other believers that I am like-minded with. I have a responsibility to them as well to help train their children, because together we make a much greater community, borrowing from everyone's strengths and weaknesses in developing not only the school, but of course our children, and really the future of Christ and His church here in the Midwest.